Hello, everyone. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for tuning in. Another week, another podcast, Potato Land. Not much on the agenda today, and maybe we could start off by talking about who everyone is. At the moment, I hate to get by with one self-righteous moment. At the moment, I'm talking to a bunch of pixels, I would argue. So for all you pixels out there listening, not much to talk about on the agenda today. But we could start with, how's everybody doing? I think that's always a straight way to dive in, huh? I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. That sort of a thing. Now, I have been watching some other podcasts, and it gets me a little more comfortable just sitting here. Even though you know these people, you don't know me. For some reason, it really soothes the nerves when it comes to me feeling like I have to endlessly ramble about constantly entertaining topics. And then fall back on my humor, which was a lot like what last week's show was. Don't watch it. Speaking of not watching things, also, don't like this video. I think that helps with the algorithm. If you unlike or dislike this one, we can at least see how it works. I mean, at this point, I have 0 views. Just gung-ho over here. But if you feel so inclined, please, hit the unlike button, and then we'll see, maybe all my videos can just be heavily unliked, and if you'd like negative comments, and then you don't even want to hover over the subscribe button, because I'm sure they're watching you. If you'd like, it would be appreciated. Actually, I don't care, either way on that stuff, I suppose. But I am inclined to go live and just hope that this pops up randomly. I've seen some people do it on Instagram. It's the most awkward thing in the world. Why do I have an Instagram account? Your guess is as good as mine. But let's get into what I wanted to talk about. Your week was as good as mine, perhaps. Yeah. So I can't really ask you about your week, can I? But I went wandering into a electronics store this week, and I searched and searched, and I couldn't find anything that was worth purchasing, and yet I had a good time. Just walking around, saw some people flirting, guy getting another lady's number, a guy getting a lady's number. That was fun. I was hoping that they weren't worried about people looking at them. Sort of an odd couple, I guess you could maybe put it that way. But not odd enough. And it was cute because I watched him go through the line with her, and she had brought in a little dog, a little white dog. Anyway, I thought the whole thing was a little charming. Yeah, there's just nothing that I want from Best Buy right now. But what I'm getting at is I hope you, if you are so inclined, I hope you're getting out there and taking on new challenges. I mean, to some extent, I didn't know if they were going to let me in, Are they letting people in? I know the Apple Store is doing this, like, they got 3 levels of. Yeah, anyway, this stuff gets dated, and as soon as this COVID thing is over, I'd hate to just be babbling on about things that are coronavirus related. Let's get out of it. Let's get out of the times. Last thing I wanted to say about that, and we'll keep it within one sentence if I can, and then move on to some more exciting stuff. Some more clues that we're not getting microchipped in our how micro those chips would have to be to go through a needle. But I'm just off the top of you can believe whatever you want. It doesn't mean I'm going to be your friend, but you can believe whatever you want. But a couple more clues I noticed. I feel like it was a turning point for me when the president and current president, he contracted it and immediately went to the hospital and got his like Regenikine or whatever it's called, and I'm not even sure if that's what it is. But he got all that might be like a hair loss for men thing. I have no idea. He got all the quick remedies before the vaccines had ever been approved. And then what was more telling is that he went on his social media and he was, when he was all better, and he was pandering. Can you say that? Is that the right term? To his older audience, saying like, we can get this stuff in you and that sort of thing. I'm not going to try an impression because it all just, doesn't it? It all just, what's the word I'm looking for? And I'll get it. But as a side note, I realize it either takes me 15 minutes to get into the groove before I unfold my arms, or a couple of beers. And I'm not going to crack into any. I don't have any liquor with me. I took a hit of a tiny bit of tobacco before we got started. And I'm not sure we're really rolling. But anyway, that would be a clue, is that he was pandering to his older base. And yeah, as far as mocking your presidents, I really think that how do you say? It's like more than 4 syllables or something. So not a chance I'm going to think of it yet. But I think it furthers this. See, like, for example, Biden is about to be president, and he's much less of a caricature as a president or as a human, and a little smart talk, I suppose, here. But I think found the word I was looking for: perpetuates. Yeah, off the top of my dome there. It mocking these presidents or mimicking them, or you know what I'm getting at. I think it perpetuates the goofy. Let's elect another goofy president, right? I just came off the top of my head. I mean, I just came up with it right now. But I think that might be true, right? I mean, can't we all agree? At least a little bit. And ever since maybe as far back as, I've only been alive for so long, but as far back as Clinton, people have been sort of, I think we're realizing that, the country is possibly forever at a sort of a standstill on all the issues. And so, we brought in more and more clowns, more and more clowny clowns. But anyway, to get to my point, wow, that would have been a long sentence if I didn't put any periods in that. But the clues that you're safe when it comes to getting a vaccine. I'm sort of just picking them up and sharing them with you because, whether, and I have one more, but whether you agree with me or not, I'm wondering if you may have seen it. It may have picked up with your senses the exact same thing. And I realize the other one is you get a little bit of a beat on the city doing the job that I do, driving around and stuff, picking people up. I mean, taxi or whatever you want to call it. And I noticed that 3 months after the start of the lockdowns, everybody was pretty much jumping in their Ubers for the most part. It was a lot slower, but there was a lot less drivers, so it evened out. I realize as I'm saying now. But people didn't seem to be quite as paranoid as they are now. I think the level of fear has gone up a tiny bit in terms of people rolling their windows down whenever I forget to roll them down. That is. Anyway, wow. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Most important, most fun thing I have for you today is I would never go without looking up the wine that I was drinking, champagne that I was drinking. Same thing for you kiddos, that anybody that wouldn't know. To my younger audience, it's the same thing. It's soda wine. That's all it is. And I think, or at least I've heard, that it gives you headaches. Maybe it's more prone to give you headaches. Anyway, Brut or Brut. I should have looked up the pronunciation. Brut wine is the most driest / non-sweet. It's the same thing. When they say dry in wine, they mean non-sweet. So there you go, picking that up from a few podcasts ago, which has become somewhat of a routine for me at this point. And at some point, I'm going to stop doing it altogether because I like a new, fresh dish for you guys every week, as much as you would. I understand. But there you go, a little culture in this one. Brut wine, or however you say it. Look it up yourself. I'm not going to look it up in real time. I just don't. I think you guys would be less going on a journey with me if I were to. So it's just more fun, and you guys get to find out how stupid I am as well. Which is probably why I love playing the come up with a big word game during every episode. You know, in daily life, you never want to use a big word. It sort of puts people off. It's a little intimidating. A great way to win an argument, but for the most part, I don't know where a large vocabulary helps unless you're writing books or articles or something. So my own little game I play with you guys. Hopefully you understand all the terms. No. I was thinking of putting before I say a word these are just fun words to say, right? They're rare. They could be one syllable if, there is such a thing. I was thinking about putting the definition of the term behind me, sort of, where I'm blocking it, but it's there. But today we have one that I don't even know how to pronounce. I'm sure it's Brut, but if you look up Brut and with Siri, I'm betting, then you'll probably get, the animal definition, which is what I ran into a little bit today. But I also looked this up like maybe a week ago or so, and just forgot. You know, they can't say dry and not sweet unless they're being hoity-toity. It's not sweet or dry. The driest of champagnes. Okay, in case you know you're stuck in France or something and you have to get by, lost in a grapevine, a vineyard. There you go, a little insight on how little I know about the world. What else? I like sort of going off the dome, but I'm going to check the notes because I think we already covered everything. The last thing I would want to say is, oh, you know what would be fun? And this is also in my notes as well. A couple of things, I suppose. But what would be fun is figuring out the suicide rates over these holidays. So nobody watches old podcasts. I certainly have trouble getting through them. And if you do, good for you. It's just mindless entertainment that you can kind of sort of just have somebody in your ear while you're doing much more important stuff. So if you are going back on these episodes, because, you know, as I broadcast, my view count is 0 on every video. So I want to reiterate that if that wasn't already clear. The 2021 year, more like the 2020 holiday season, it'd be interesting to find out when it comes out how we did in terms of the suicide rates this year. We're just getting out of it now, but I'm willing to bet that they're way lower this year, way lower, and I don't think it should surprise anybody. We all had a lot of time off. Everybody had as much time as they needed to make tie up loose ends with their families if they want. If they could, if it was possible, and if they wanted. So there was a lot of hanging out by yourself or hanging out with your friends on the down low. But mostly just not socializing. See, this is my area of comfort is sort of well, I think it's everybody's area of comfort, especially as you get older. But this is my strong point. I've mentioned it before, but I was always sort of destined to be by myselfish. So when I crack a smile at the odd time, and it looks like I'm being, I don't know the word. I just had it on the tip of my tongue, but well, it looks like I'm being sort of mischievous because I'm enjoying your suffering, sort of a thing. It's not so much the case as it is we're temporarily all in this boat together, and I enjoy the fun. So the other name for this podcast could be Braden on an Island. It could be any sort of lonely boy theme you want. I call it what I call it because it's still appropriate. And yeah, the story behind that is let's think about wrapping up soon, huh? 20 minutes or so here, gone by now. But I can explain myself. In terms of wanting to wrap up so soon, the last leg of the race, the third period or the third act, I'm not in it unless we're both not in it. Does that make sense? I just made that stuff up right off the top here. I'm trying to enjoy myself. I had a long day today, just driving, but then it shouldn't cross over. It's just that it was hot, and so I feel like my eyelids are heavy. It was hot outside this summer. I mean, this winter. It's winter right now. It was like a summer day. So I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. You don't have to know me too well, or you could see it in my, whatever the term is. Again, that one was just on the tip of my tongue. From now on, when I do a podcast, because I think all these podcasts are great, and I have no idea how we're going to get out of this one, but, I still haven't said what I wanted to say there. But from now on, I'm just going to drink. One of my favorite podcaster guys. And I shouldn't have been surprised, but sort of surprised to find out how many people are watching his one-man Facebook show during the times we're in. He used to do them daily. Ricky Gervais. Oh my God. He has a little drink, so I think it would be cool if I busted out wine just to sort of loosen up the tongue. Or maybe grease my lips. Oh, I'm all messed up. I might record a whole nother podcast. It's just awful. I've never done that before. I've never been so late in a podcast and decided to record over, but this one is rough. But overall, good week, and I forget what I was talking about there when I went off on a sort of tangent about the third act. And usually I have a high score in terms of remembering what I've been talking about. But I know we were talking about checking the and the mischievous side of me. I was saying you could see it in my I don't know. Would it be cool if this one just went completely off the rails? I mean, the last thing I want to do is make the last 5 minutes here even worse. I listened back on the last podcast. I thought it was going so awful, but when I watched it back in the editing process, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I didn't think the last one was quite as bad as I was imagining it would be. But this one, it's almost like you have to bomb one show. You have to completely tank an entire episode to get you motivated to do a better one the next week. And man, as far as just my voice goes, all we're doing is listening, but we shouldn't really be paying attention. There's nothing here. The last topic I wanted to bring up is, sorry, I don't mean to even delay on this one. It's just that I know that I don't quite know myself yet. And this is one that came from my notes, mind you. I know I don't quite know myself, my differences. It's very difficult to see yourself from third perspective or another person's perspective completely. But this podcast is sort of a, like I could have started with telling you guys that I'm tanking this one, but I do realize that that's where in the moment, that's where this show is headed. You tank one every now and again. You just grab it by the head and dunk it underwater. Just to prove to yourself that it's like self-harm. I really don't want to do that, and I feel like we have to be wrapping up soon here. But I didn't mean to go off topic there. I just wanted to basically say that, I don't fully understand what makes me completely different unless I'm talking to somebody and they're giving me their worldview on who they think I am and why, and that would have to be more than one person, I imagine, unless it was some very experienced, intelligent individual. So we're kind of finding that out in the moment, but I tell you, I'd still love to come, to a point in the show where I'm leaning back and pausing at will. There you go. First laugh of the show. By the way, in all my previous laughs, every single laugh I've previously done before we wrap up here counts as me filling in where I think you should have laughed. So, and there's some moments where I just don't laugh, too. So that's also part of the gig. Just not laughing, because I see the humor in it, but I don't think you necessarily will. So even if you're laughing at moments where, then, good on you. And trust me, I'm right there with you. So maybe I do know myself a little bit more than I'm leading on here. But I still don't feel like I know myself nearly enough. And so if you want, start your own podcast. I think it helps. I believe it's time, guys. It's time to just take one for the team. That is that I have no viewers at this point. So why not, leave one podcast for the fireplace, throw one in the fireplace. And I still get the jitters from the next day for releasing shows, but today my body and my mentality, it's just becoming difficult to come up with new content. I think we talked a lot about stuff on this show anyway, so not too terrible. Got off to a little early start with the smart stuff, but I think it works. Not too bad. Oh, and facial expressions. We could talk about that. So I'm trying to give you, your money's worth. Well, your money's worth. Your time's worth. My facial expressions, the more I do, it has become obvious to me that it's the more I do equals the more uncomfortable I am. Just can't wait to, like my first episode, I was all over the place. Just can't wait to, as well as maybe last episode as well, if we're keeping track. So overall, I think maybe this podcast rivals maybe even the last or every single other one. Let's just get out of here, why don't we? I don't know. You hear it. We're going off tracks right now already. When you fall, land on your shoulder and roll, okay? That's how you fall. That's how we're going to jump out of the car on this one. I can't believe we did it, guys. Honestly. Both you and I, if you're with me at this point, and by the way, probably should have tuned out on this one because the good stuff was, I think, front loaded. All right, guys, it's time to go. I can't believe it, guys. It's as sad for me as it is for you. Let's make next week a better one. I've been doing all right. I've been working and busting my ass this week, and there's nothing wrong with my week per se. But at some point, you just gotta burn one up in flames. Let's see how bad this one looks in editing, huh? Okay. Till next week.